set of side skirts for a Mustang. We're doing them in a carbon fiber, so we've got everything prepped, everything ready. Now we're going to go ahead and get started on mixing and getting all of the stuff ready to go to apply to the actual side skirts themselves. So what we've got here is we're going to need some adhesion promoter and we're going to need some primer. So the adhesion promoter is going to go on first. It goes onto the bare plastics. Again, we've already wiped everything down. We went ahead and used our solvent-based wax and grease remover, so everything is all clean and ready to go. Now we've got all that down, we've already tacked it all off. Now we're ready to start with our adhesion promoter. So adhesion promoter, we have that. You can check it out on the store. It is pretty much ready to spray. So you pour it in the cup, everything's good, you spray it, whatever you got left, you can actually pour it right back in the can. So really great on that. Adhesion promoter, we're going to put on 2 good coats, and then right after that, then we're going to let it flash for about 5, maybe 10 minutes or so, and then come back in, shoot our epoxy primer over the top of it, and then after our epoxy primer, then we're going to go back over that with the base coat that we need for the job. So wanted to go ahead and just go over a little bit of our paints, primers, and clears and all that. And in this case, it's going to be our primer that we're going to be using. This stuff is, you can use it in 2 different ways. You can use it as a filler primer, which is a very thick primer that you can sand down. Or, in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to use it as a primer sealer, so that way, whenever we go to mix this, we're actually going to add in some reducer. So what that's going to do is that's going to help thin it out, so then that way, whenever we go to spray the parts, it's a lot thinner, and then we can go directly over that with our paint. And the reason for that is because the parts are already smooth. There's no reason to go back and sand them down or anything like that again. So we can use it as a sealer. It works really great, very flexible, works really good on plastics, but you've got to make sure you use that adhesion promoter first. So let's go ahead and get started. Another thing that you want to make sure of is that in this case, it is so freaking hot in here right now, it's unreal. I think we're sitting at about 100 degrees right now in the paint booth, and so that's kind of why I'm making this a little short. But either way, we're going to be using our slow reducer. Slow reducer is for very hot weather, of course. So we're going to be adding this in there to account for the heat that we have. And then, of course, we're going to be mixing our primer and our activator with it, so then that way everything is ready to spray and we're all good to go. So we're going to go ahead and mix this up, and y'all can't see this, but the way that we're going to mix this is going to be 2 to 1 to a half, and so that half part is going to be the reducer. So we have 2 parts of our primer to 1 part of the activator, and then one half part of the reducer. Now you can go a little bit over, even go in like 2 to 1 to 1, and it'll still work just fine for you. It'll just thin it out a little bit more. But normally, the way that you would mix this is 2 to 1 as a filler primer, or 2 to 1 to a half, and you make that into a sealer, so that way it sprays on thin. You spray your base coat right over it, you're ready to rock and roll. So we'll go ahead and get this going here. We've already shook this up. It's already ready to go. So we'll go ahead and pour this out. And if you haven't already, I would definitely invest in one of these paint mixing lids. They are really great for whenever you're trying to pour little intricate parts or like smaller spots or anything like that, because pouring out of a brand new gallon into a cup like that, it's not the easiest for sure. And so by having a mixing lid like that right there, it makes a world of difference in being able to pour the smaller items like that. So we'll go ahead and add in our hardener. So again, 2 to 1 right now is what our ratio is at. And then now what we're going to do is go to the other half mark with our reducer. And so now we have a mixture of 2 to 1, and it's a little bit over a half, but it'll still work just fine. So put the lid on the PPS coats, make sure everything's good with it. Everything is good, so we'll go ahead and put the lid on it. Now that we've got the lid on it, a lot of the times we'll actually put a cap on this, put it on our mechanical shaker, and let it shake it up. That way we know that it's shook up really good. If you don't have one of those, of course, you can always take and shake it up by hand or while it's on the gun, but you definitely want to shake it up really good to make sure that everything gets mixed up properly and everything's good to go. So we'll go ahead and get this shook up. We'll get our gloves on, get our mask on, and then we'll get to painting. So again, adhesion promoter is going to go first. We're going to let that flash off. Whenever that flashes, we're going to shoot our primer, and then let that flash, shoot our paint, and then we're ready to dip. So we got our adhesion promoter in the gun. Again, we're going to do 2 full wet coats. Of course, the boom is running. We got everything prepped and ready, and so we're going to go ahead and get started. So a couple of things to remember is, and you can kind of follow me over here and see, we just want to do 1 good, even wet coat. So again, we're going to hold it like this. 1 even wet coat across here, back across here, flip to the other side, hit it again, 1 good coat. Then we'll come back, hit this one over here, and then after this one is done, then we'll come back, hit this one again. That should have enough time for it to dry and flash off. Once we got 2 coats on these, then we'll go ahead and get started with the primer. So let's go ahead and get our mask on, and then we'll get going. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next video.